This is Dean Johnson interviewing Eugene Dutour on June the 13th. And here we go. I'm going to be asking Gene Dutour some questions here. Gene, tell me, how did you first learn about longshoring?
I was hitchhiking with my brother-in-law from Cloverdale to New Westminster, and Bernie LaHaye picked us up. And he asked us if we were looking for work. We said, yeah. So next day, that's where we were, January 7th, 1961.
So that's how you first started. Do you remember what your
First job was?
First job was?
Oh, yeah. It was fertilizer in bulk.
What was that? Explain what that one was.
Oh, that was a shitty job. Pardon the words.
Well, what did you do?
It was a matter of they had cables running onto the bulkheads, and you had to it was hooked up to a board. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And we used to plow it back into the wings. That's how we did it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. To fill up the wings, right?
Yeah, fill up the wings.
Yeah, that was a lousy job.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was. And whereabouts was it?
I think it was around 1C.
1C.
Yeah.
Well, how did you get a dispatch? When you went to the hall, tell me what you had to do.
Yeah,
that first day, if you can remember.
That's a good question. Just stood around waiting for somebody to call you. Put your name up there, obviously. So, and when the job came up, you went up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who was the dispatcher? Do you remember?
I think it was Heyman.
Oh yeah, Heyman. Yeah. And what happens then when he calls you up to work? What do you do?
Well, you went up on the platform and took your name down, and I guess, and give you a dispatch sheet, and away you went.
And a work number?
Work number, yeah. You had to register you.
And then, how did you know where to go?
Well, I guess you'd have to ask some of the guys, I guess, to, where 1C was, obviously, or 1B. But it was Pacific Coast Terminals, obviously, so.
Oh, yeah. Now, how old were you at the time?
18.
18 years old, boy, a long time.
Just a spring chicken.
Did you know anybody working there when you started?
No. Nobody.
You didn't know anybody?
No. No help. No father or uncle or anything like this to get you in there.
Oh,
like most guys had.
Yeah. And what type of work did you do in your career there?
Maybe a little construction here and there. I worked for my uncle for a while.
Mm-hmm.
As in carpentry and stuff like that.
And that was before you started longshoring?
Yeah. I was probably about 17 then.
Yeah. And what kind of work did you do when you longshored? When the first few years of longshoring?
Well, it was all bulk work. Lumber, fertilizer, sacks, and whatever.
What size of lumber? What size of lumber did you mostly do?
All sizes. Mm-hmm. You'd use timbers even with rollers and PVs.
Now, what were rollers? What were timbers? How big were they?
Well, 12 by 12s, 14 by 14s, and you'd put them on one end on a roller and you'd wheel it into place. Yeah.
And did you have to learn about the PV work yourself, or did somebody show you how to
there's
operate?
always somebody there to teach you how to do it. You followed the other guys, basically. The guys that had more experience, obviously.
Did you have to have any safety equipment when you started?
I don't know. I don't recall having to have safety equipment. Mm-hmm. No, not in the early 60s that I know of.
Did you have any special clothing or an apron to wear?
Well, you used an apron, yeah.
And what was this apron? What was it?
Made out of leather. It just went around your waist and it just saved your pants.
Oh, yeah. So you could go to work in any type of shoes, boots, or whatever. Didn't matter. They had no rules.
Yeah, I don't think they had any rules for hard, steel toes and stuff like that in those days. But not that I recall, anyways.
Did you do the same thing every day?
No, that's what I liked about that job. You could get different jobs here and there. Different type of work. Mm-hmm. You'd have sacks one day. You'd have lumber the next, whatever. Eh?
How heavy were these sacks that you had to do?
Well, when you worked on fertilizer, they were about 112 pounds. So they weren't exactly light. And you'd work sometimes like that for a month. I mean, you'd get raw on your wrists or from the sacks.
Now, on a sack job, they come down on pallets. How many were on a pallet? About?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know, maybe 24 bags,
Okay.
maybe 16. I don't know exactly how many there was.
How did you get those into the wing?
You carry them.
You carry them?
Yeah. Well, you'd land as close to the wing as you could with the spreaders and the pallet, and you take them off and walk into the wing with them.
Okay.
Come out row by row.
Was there any type of road work where you had a dolly and pushed it into the wing?
Yeah, we've done that before. Yeah.
And how was that done?
Yeah, you lay plywood down, and or you lay your boards down, and then plywood on top of that. Then you'd wheel this stuff in. These pallets, they'd land on the dolly, like a cart with 4 wheels and
Oh, yeah.
like a wagon.
And did you set gear? Now, what the old type of gear they had? What was it like to get that rigged up for work?
It wasn't that hard really. You just have to bring the boom out and set up your lines, tie them down, and that's the way it'd work.
So how did it work? One boom, the two
One
booms.
boom, one boom would be out over the dock, and one would be on top of the hatch. Yeah,
And how were they secured to the ship?
with steel lines, ropes,
Ropes
and pulleys.
and pulleys. How heavy was the gear at that time? What could it pick up?
Yeah, that's a good question. Though there was different size gear, obviously.
Well, I remember there was 3-ton gear and 5-ton gear
Yeah,
that you could pick up
yeah,
and stuff like that.
yeah. There was.
Now, in a typical day's work, tell me what you did from. You get up in the morning and what happened? How did you get to work? And,
You drive to work.
you drive to work.
You drive to work and wait for the dispatch.
Wait for the dispatch. After the dispatch, what did you do?
Well, then you headed for coffee and then work.
And then when you got to work on
or
the ship,
breakfast. Yeah.
what did you do?
Or you had to hand the slip to your foreman,
Mm-hmm.
and he'd assign you to whatever gang you were in. Well, mind you, in those days we worked in a gang, basically. I think we worked in Bailey's gang for years and years.
Yeah, Bailey's
Yeah,
gang.
yeah. Danny and I used to work together for, I don't know.
So you had a good friend that you worked with.
Oh yeah, yeah. You always partnered up with somebody or tried to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you and Danny, did you work together through most of your career?
Yeah, 45 years.
45 years you guys worked together.
Yeah.
Yeah. You probably saw
Even
each other.
even at West Shore.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
probably saw each other more than you saw your families.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Now, once you got to work and you got down the hatch, let's say it was loose lumber coming down.
Yeah.
Because most of that. How did you start out? And tell me your day.
Well, you'd land them on blocks and you'd carry your lumber in. Whether if you needed 2 guys, then you would use 2 guys, one on each end. I mean, some of these 3x9s are pretty long. You remember that yourself.
Yeah, I remember.
And heavy,
Mm-hmm.
And when you only weighed say 150 pounds, 160 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
it was tough.
Okay.
It's not like it is now.
Did you have a coffee time?
Yeah, 10 o'clock coffee break and 3 o'clock coffee break. in the
And did
afternoon.
you go any place for the coffee break? Or?
No. You used to on the ship. Somebody would go out and get coffee for everybody. They'd take their orders and go get coffee or whatever you wanted. Muffin or whatever.
And lunch break came. What did you do for lunch?
Some people would go for a beer, or others would go play pool. We'd go play pool mostly
Oh, yeah.
for an hour and back to the ship. You'd have some lunch while you're there playing pool, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Hamburger or whatever.
And then you had how long did you work for? What were the shifts?
Well, you could work from 8 till noon, and sometimes you'd have something called a split shift. You'd go off from noon till 5. From 5 till 9, you come back and work for 4 more hours.
Mm-hmm.
And that's called a split shift. You'd get time and a half on the afternoon shift. Like on the back end of the split shift.
Mm-hmm.
And day shift was from 8 till 5,
8 till 5.
with an hour off for lunch.
Okay. And afterwards, what did you do?
Go home.
You didn't go
except-
out with your friends after work or anything?
No, except for a payday, and you go to the King Ed for a beer.
Oh, so on payday you went to the King Ed for
Yeah.
a beer. And that's where you mostly sat and drank, is the King Ed,
Yeah,
when you were in town?
yeah.
Okay. Now,
But I only did that for what, 16 years, 17 years.
Yeah.
Then I went to West Shore.
yeah.
So yeah.
And how did in the years that you worked, how did the job change in the years that you worked?
Well, at first it used to be all handwork till they started packaging lumber into different sizes, and then you'd be using a forklift. So it got a lot easier. Mind you, smaller gangs too.
Yeah.
It's easier on you, obviously. You didn't have to carry the lumber anymore.
Okay. Now, when did the cars start coming in? The
Oh.
car ships.
Good question. Good question. I don't know. I can't remember that.
Well, what was the first car ship you can remember working on?
Yeah, I don't know that either, but I know I've worked some. Quite a few, as a matter of fact. But, that's a good question. Annis Asylum. When did that start?
Yeah, I know where that started.
Got to be
In the-
back in the early late 60s,
Late
I'm
60s?
guessing. Yeah,
But I remember cars coming off at PCT.
yeah. I've seen
How
those.
did they get the cars over the hatch then?
Well, they had this rig made up. I guess it's like a square tubing with cables coming down.
bridle made up.
Yeah, and there were just two prongs with hook under the tires, and away you go. And away they'd go.
Was there any damage? Much damage at
Oh,
all?
I'm sure there'd be some damage. Yeah, not really that much, but there was some.
And then what did it progress from there? What was the next step in
Yeah.
car ships?
Drive-ons and drive-offs, I should say, is what they had ramps coming out of the dock, and you'd just then all these different decks. You'd go get a car and take them out and park them, and then come back in by a little bus and walk back on.
Yeah. Was there anything before that? Any everything before that?
Not that I recall.
Okay. Yeah. Now, in lead, as lead would come, you would be loading lead. How were the bars? Was it in bars, or what was it like?
I think it was about 100-pound bars or something like this. I'm not quite sure now exactly how much they weigh, but maybe they were less than that. But they seemed to be pretty heavy, anyways. And they wouldn't move once you dropped them. And don't drop them on your toes.
No. Yeah.
And zinc was a lot nicer. I didn't mind working zinc because you just give them a flip and they'd always go into place.
Yeah, they were only
Yeah.
about 60
Yeah,
pounds,
they
and so
were-
that was nice and
They were
light.
nice, yeah.
Yeah. And what other cargoes did you work?
Well, there's rice at the rice mills.
So how did you like working at the rice mill?
I didn't.
No, either
Those
did I.
things are heavy. Those bags
Yeah,
were heavy.
Those were heavy.
Yeah, you needed two guys on those things. Yeah. And you go out there by bus.
Yeah.
They'd have a bus for you. Other than that, worked out of Vancouver for 6 months in one of the gangs over there, Danny and I.
How big was the gang when you and Danny worked, when you started?
13 men.
And what did that consist of?
It existed of 8 guys down below, 2 slingmen, 2 winch drivers, and a hatch tender. And then they dropped down. If you ended up with a forklift and you worked on lumber, they dropped down to 7-man gangs after that.
Now, was there any machinery you operated in your career?
Yeah, I operated mostly forklifts.
Mo-
When
how
I
did-
worked at Waterfront, yeah.
How did you get to do that?
I don't know. I can't recall getting any training for it. I guess you just jumped on a machine and did it. I can't recall getting trained for it, tell you the truth.
And there was the times that you worked alone on the beach and the waterfront, or were you always with somebody, had a partner?
Well, you always work with somebody.
Always
Yeah.
with somebody. How was the safety aspect of the job?
I think safety was pretty good, to tell you the truth. Yeah. I mean, they had safety netting for you to walk when you walked up the gangplanks and what have you, so in case you fell over. But basically, it was fairly safe.
Did any of the old timers tell you what to do and what not to do?
Oh yeah. There's always somebody there. Somebody with more experience, obviously. That's how you learn. Yeah.
Did you ever work logs?
Yeah, I didn't like logs.
Well, tell us any experience you had in logs.
Well, I'll tell you, we had in Bailey's gang, we had Harry Bailey was our hatch tender. I'll tell you, when he brought the logs down there, you had to run and hide because you don't know where those things are going to go. Because they set them up on top on the combing up there, and they aim it downwards and drop him. Dangerous job.
It was a dangerous job.
Lots of times I walked up that ladder instead when the loads came down.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else did, but I did.
I was doing out in the booms, and then I went up in the ship, and I watched down below the logs coming down, and I had to do that when I was driving the winch. And I made a mental note of myself. If that's all you got to do, Dean, is go down below on logs, go home.
Yeah.
Well,
I never worked out on the water though.
Oh, I didn't mind the water. I didn't mind that at all.
No, not me.
Because they didn't strap the logs; they were loose.
I know. You had to strap them yourself with cables. Yeah.
So, is there any time you had to run up the sweatboards?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's scary. And I'm surprised nobody, not that many people got hurt. I'm very surprised.
Now, were you trained in any specialized tasks, any specialized jobs?
No, did all jobs.
You did all jobs?
Yeah. You even did wheat, the elevator, yeah.
At that old elevator?
Yeah? Oh yeah. Then the same ways you did fertilizer, you'd have those scoops and you push, shovel her up into the wings. Yeah.
You ever work sulfur?
Yeah, that's a shitty job.
Tell us about that. Do you remember about the sulfur
you did
jobs?
it the same ways you did with the bulk fertilizer. You had those boards with the cables going into the wing and you push it all in there. But your clothes sure stank, I'll tell you. Especially when you took it home and washed it, and the wife started ironing this stuff, and boy, I tell you, it smelled.
Oh yes, nice.
Yeah.
I remember all that. Now, was there any women working when you were?
Never heard of that. Never heard of women working those days.
Yeah, it was just too tough a jobs
Oh, yeah.
for women.
Now there's lots of women down there. Do you know how many?
No, I don't know how many.
It's got to be quite a few.
20 or 30 or more,
Oh, well, Seamus probably.
Now, was there any ethnic or racial criteria to where the work was assigned?
No.
No, you weren't assigned any job just because you were...
Because I was French? No.
Yeah, nothing like that.
No. There was no discrimination that I know of anyways.
What did you think of the pay and the benefits?
Well, I thought pay was pretty good, So were the benefits.
Yeah.
But don't ask me what the benefits were because I can't remember that. But I think the pay was around $2.56 an hour or something like that when I started. It was probably good money then, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. What did you think of the union, and how did that affect your life on the waterfront?
Well, I think if it wasn't for the union, we wouldn't be where we are. Any union, to tell you the truth. If it wasn't for unions, I mean, the employer would be stepping all over you. You'd still be making $1 an hour.
Did the unions or union representatives stress safety on the job?
Yeah, they always stress safety, yeah. I mean, you just basically have to watch out for yourself and make sure that nobody else is in the bite. If somebody that's got less experience than you would let them know. Same as what the older guys did for me.
Okay. Well, changes in the work technology. What changes did you see in your career?
Well, from manual labor to forklifts to start with.
To start with, what other new things came onto the beach?
I don't know, mostly just forklifts.
Well, I know that I saw the changes with the railroad cars, railroad ships come on.
Oh yeah, for cars you mean, stuff like this.
Yeah, and the pad ships.
Instead of taking one out at a time, you drive them off
Yeah.
that's technology, I guess.
Yeah, and the sea hooks that they had. I remember when they first came out for package, the sea hooks of taking metal out and stuff like that.
Sea hooks?
Like this, and you went in and grabbed a load of steel and then took it up.
The only thing I remember taking steel out is using with chains, using chains.
Yeah, they
Wrap
have
it
that.
up and
Sometimes they did that too, change.
I'm just trying to remember working with sea hooks. No, I don't.
What other things besides forklifts were machinery on the docks were there?
Well, there's front end loaders.
Did you ever drive a straddle?
Real cars.
Yeah, a straddle carrier? Straddle?
Yeah, straddle carriers. Yeah, we did that.
And did you have any special training on that stuff, or you just get in and?
I can't recall that. Tell you the truth. We also worked train ship.
Now tell us about the train ship.
That was a pretty good job. It was on Thursdays. The trains would, the ship would come in from Whittier, Alaska with the empties, and we'd unload it and reload it with full ones and send it back. Usually a 2-shift job, day and afternoons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what was your job?
I started off as a switchman, and then a fireman's helper, which you stand or you sit beside on the opposite side of the engineer.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually I went and got my locomotive ticket.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us, how did you get that locomotive ticket?
Well, you had to go for a test. You had to go for I think, I'm not sure if it was BCIT or whatever it was, but you had to go for a test. So you got your ticket. You had to pass it. You had to,
Well, did you have any special training before you went that test? Or?
No. You just you had to once you took the test and got I don't know where. I can't recall. I guess the training. I guess is just by
on the job
experience. I guess. Then you went and wrote the test, and you became a locomotive engineer. But you're only good for the waterfront with it.
Oh yeah.
So I worked on Neptune and Vancouver Wharves and Fraser River docks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who was the engineer when you were?
Visser, Lloyd Visser.
Visser, eh? Okay.
Yeah. Or no, not Lloyd. John Visser is what it was.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking of the other guy, Lloyd. Can't think of his name. But there was another one there too.
Joe Briggs, was he?
Was he what?
He was an engineer, wasn't he? Locomotive?
He might have been, but he was after me, I think.
Yeah, it's after you. Yeah. Okay. How were the unions? I mean, not the union here. How was the relationship between your co-workers? How was it?
I think it was pretty good. The guys really got along real good. I mean, you find the odd fight here and there, but most of the guys got along pretty good.
Mm-hmm. And the older workers showed you new guys the ropes.
Oh yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a given, eh?
Did you guys have fun during work hours with your co-workers? Like
yeah.
Hazing or jokes? And
well,
stuff?
not hazing, but we played ball. We everything waiting for the loads to come down. Mm-hmm. We played cards.
Okay. Was any sports teams formed on the waterfront? Yeah.
We used to belong to. I used to play ball with a team called the Sapperton Merchants, but I don't know if that was just waterfront guys. I can't recall. I know Jerry White played ball there. I can't remember anybody else. So.
Mm-hmm. Now, when did you become part of the union?
As a member,
Yes.
1965.
60.
So it took me approximately 4.5 years to get in there.
And what union?
ILWU, yeah, 502.
Did you ever go out and strike?
Oh yeah.
What was it like going out and strike?
I don't know. We played whenever somebody would come up, they try to get in. You'd have a sign there with ILWU on strike, obviously 502, or basically it was ILWU on strike, and nobody's around. Nobody. You play cards.
Okay.
When there's nothing coming up. But we never had any problems.
So, did you have any of the safety gear? Did the company supply any safety gear?
I can't recall, company supplying gear. No.
Was there ever any violence on the job? Did you ever see or come across or see or hear of any violence on the job?
Oh, I'm sure there was the odd fight here and there, I guess, but everything always gets settled, obviously.
Was there any parties on the job? Much drinking on the job or what?
Oh, there was some. Some worse than others.
Well, can you tell us any experiences you had? Some with
I've never had any, basically any experience with people drinking there, but I'm sure there was some.
Okay. Now, a lot of the old timers were men that had been through the Second World War.
That had what?
Had been through the Second World War.
Yeah.
What were they like to work with?
I don't know if I can't recall anybody being in the Second World War, but I'm sure there was some. All the guys were good to work with. All the older guys.
Baxter.
Yeah, I never had any problems with those guys. I get along with everybody.
Yeah. I just was wondering, how it was, Now, were you proud of your job on the waterfront?
Oh, of course.
How was that? Why was that?
Well, it gave me a chance to support my family. I had a wife and a son, so it was a good job. You got to work, let's face it. It was a good job. I enjoyed it because you did different things, basically every day.
Yeah.
I went drywalling for a little while, and then didn't like it, so I went back longshore.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't stay away very long. So.
Yeah. Now, did the union have any picnics or any banquets or anything that you went to?
Well, they had picnics, but I don't think I ever went to any of them.
Oh yeah.
I think they used to have them called a lake, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I just wasn't interested in going.
Did you go to any banquets that they had? Or?
Nope.
Okay. And the sportsmen's banquets, okay. So what do you think about the Fraser River as an economy and how the economic benefits of the Fraser River has brought to New Westminster?
Well, I think Fraser supports New Westminster, or did, all those years. I'm kind of sad to see all those. There's no more berths in New Westminster. Everything's across the river now, or on Anasis. Yeah, it's too bad because that was.
Well, I think that was a bad decision on myself and New Westminster's side because, that brought a lot of money into New Westminster.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden
there was quite a few berths there. It supported New Westminster. What does New Westminster do now?
Yeah.
What do they got?
No industry, not
much.
hardly anything.
And there's a mill on the. I don't know if that mill's still there. On the.
Scott Paper
side.
Mill. That's about
that's
it.
What I'm saying. Yeah.
That's the only thing they have.
And they used to have another mill there too, but I think it got burned down.
Yeah. There's a big fire there,
I know.
How did the work in the waterfront affect your family and your lifestyle?
I used to work a lot of afternoon shifts because I preferred that. Because you don't have to drive in the traffic in the morning or go home at night in the traffic. Probably hard on my family because a lot of times you didn't get to see your own kids. You'd be gone by the time you get home from school. And they're sleeping by the time you get home, so. Yeah, it was tough on him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the money was better on afternoon shift. Let's face it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. How did the change in shift work to shift work affect you? From days, and then became split shifts, then became days and a 6-hour afternoon shift,
Well,
and then became around the clock work. How did that affect you? And 7 days a week. And we used to have the weekends off.
yeah, we used to have weekends off. That I don't know. I guess that you get used to it. You know, it's like everything else.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make a living. Let's face it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, how did you decide to go to West Shore? And why?
Just thought I'd go out and try it out. I stayed. Yeah. It wasn't as bad as what they all made out that it was. Yeah, that was good.
Mm-hmm.
There for 28 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anything else can you tell me about your working career on the waterfront?
No, not much else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you take any photographs at all?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I've taken some at West Shore, but on the waterfront itself, no.
Now,
Not that I can find at home anyways.
mm-hmm. Could you tell me your good times that you had on and the hard times on the waterfront? Can you give me some instances?
I don't know if there was any hard times. Some of the jobs maybe were hard, but that's basically everything's pretty good. Everything was good.
Okay.
Get along with all the guys. So.
What were some of the jobs that you hated, that you just really didn't want to do?
Well, I hated fertilizer.
Mm-hmm.
Sacks basically of any kind, I guess. Lumber is okay. Except that it got a little boring when you had to work it for a month at a time.
Now, how was a month? Why would you have to work a month at a time?
That's how long it took to load a ship sometimes.
Okay.
You know, you'd go from 2-inch down to 1-inch, back to 2-inch or 3-inch. So yeah. Some of those old Liberty ships were pretty
And
there
then-
for quite a while.
And what was the deck load like?
Well, that was all right. Deck loads are okay. Yeah. Just to watch yourself when you get to the edge. Make sure you don't fall over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was there anybody hurt that you know, or did you ever get hurt?
The
on
only
job?
one I've never gotten hurt. The only one I can remember of that I could read that passed away on the job was Lalaberty. He drove over the edge with a forklift on deck.
Oh, that was
yeah.
that
that's
was
a long time
another
ago.
buddy. That was Stevens Ego.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Inglesoner.
No, it wasn't Lalaberty.
No.
I know who you mean now.
Yeah,
I can't think of his name now either.
and Wilson, Woody Wilson's dad.
He drove off too?
No. He got the boom came down. He got cut in half, almost cut in half by the
Oh,
wire.
I don't
cables
remember
going.
that.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
even remember that.
Mm.
Well, you know how it is. The old memory goes after
Yeah,
a while. You know.
yeah,
You
the
can't
old
remember.
memory
You
goes.
can't remember everything.
Mm-hmm. So at 18, you had a car to drive to work. That was
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, I had a car.
And whereabouts did you live?
I lived in Surrey at the time when I first started there, up around 148th there.
How long did it take you to get into town in the morning?
I don't know, 20 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Still a bridge.
And tell me, from the time you started, how did you get your seniority or work your way up to become a member? How did that work? From the time you started to membership.
Well, when your time came to become a member, that's how it works, and you work by seniority. That's how it
Okay,
works.
was there just one big board, or was it just name? What was it? What did you do?
Well, there was a board there that you'd plug in every morning when you wanted to go to work.
And what was it called? Was there, different boards?
Dispatch board, I guess.
Yeah, but was there like an A, B, C, D board, or how did it work?
Well, yeah, I think they had A, B, C.
Did you go with
I'm
a
not
spare
sure.
board?
I'm not
Did
sure.
you-
There was a spare board. There was a regular board and there was a spare board. So you started off obviously on the spare board, and you progressed up onto the main board. Eventually, you became a member. It took me 4 years.
And once you became a member, what did you do then?
I think we went into a gang. Yeah, Bailey's gang.
Bailey's gang.
Yeah, Harry Bailey.
Yeah, I know Harry Bailey. He was well known for his winch driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and his partner. With,
Yeah. Crash, bang.
what was his partner's name?
I can't remember his name at the moment, but he was well known to get out of the way when Bailey's on.
I know. Same with Blackie, Danny's dad.
Yeah. Now, were there any special characters on the beach that you know, that you remember?
Well,
Guys that stand out in your mind.
Smitty stands out in my mind.
Okay, tell us about Smitty.
Yeah,
And
he's
who he was.
he was always. I'd seen him going out through the door with his head down and smash right against the door. To open up.
The door of what?
The door of the longshore hall.
Okay.
Swinging doors. I guess he did a lot of drinking.
Did he have any nicknames?
I'm just trying to think. No, I can't think of it. You might know.
Yeah, no socks, Smitty.
Yeah, no socks, Smitty is another one. Yeah.
And, well, Curly Smith was his
Yeah,
name.
Curly Smith. That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking of. Curly Smith.
I like to have gotten, there's no more picture of him with smoking the cigar. Remember we used to have it over the dispatch hall?
Where'd it go?
Strang's Torpedo? I don't know. I've looked for it in the hall and asked, and people just say, well, people just don't know anymore.
I know, yeah.
Don't know what you're talking about. Oh, Curly.
So this is going to be for what? Some type of a book or something?
No.
No?
It's an oral history of
Yeah.
the waterfront.
Okay.
That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Was there anybody that you thought was exceptionally strong, exceptionally...
No. No. Well, what's his name? He used to be, he was pretty strong, short guy.
Bill Christie?
Yeah, he was a strong guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Baxter, I think, was too.
Yeah, Baxter.
There's another one.
Mm-hmm.
Who the heck was it that used to wear long johns all the time? Year round.
Len?
Yeah, Len.
Conquest?
Len Conquest, yeah.
Yeah.
He's another guy that was very strong.
Mm-hmm. And then there was there's another, I just talked about him the other day. Another guy, yeah. I know who you're talking about. He was really strong. He wore long johns all the
Yeah,
time.
I know, yeah. Oh, I know who you mean, Ted Phillips.
Oh, Ted
Yeah,
Phillips.
there's another
yeah.
one too.
Yeah, Ted Phillips, yeah.
I think he never took a bath, that boy.
Oh, sometimes, you could hardly be. I was Len's partner for a year, and Ted was on the other side. Just like he was on the other side.
Yeah.
A lot of times you could
yeah.
smell him from one side of the ship to the other. But then I talked to him, he had a problem with his...
Could
it
be.
was,
Could
it was
be,
a
yeah.
medical problem.
Could be.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Anyways, I got to wrap this up. I gotta get
Okay.
going.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay,
It's
no
been
problem.
great. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
See you next time.
See ya.
Eugene.